I am here today with Andreas Blomqvist of Seventh Wonder. Seventh Wonder was formed in 2000. They have released 5 full-length studio records, all of them receiving excellent reviews and great respect from the prog rock community. The band's 6th full-length studio record, is called A Testament, and it is set to be released on June 10th via Frontiers Music. Sensational, absolutely sensational record. As usual, like I say, you guys are just hitting checking all the boxes for the prog rock community. It is sensational what you guys are doing. How does it come together for you each time? The writing process. I know you are a key writer. Are you the sole writer?
I am not. No, it varies. Usually over the years, it's been mostly me, you one, the guitar player, and Tommy. Maybe you wrote about a third each of the album.
Okay.
Musical wise, now Stefan is since he the new drummer. Well, new drummer has been here for 10 years, man. But
yeah.
Anyways, he's writing more and more, so that's definitely changed it up. As I've been doing more, I don't know, the more producing I do, the less I write. It just ended up that way. So, and also Tommy does the vocal arrangements by himself. We write the lyrics together, him and me, but he does that part. So, it's a good mix. Everybody chimes in, everybody writes it up. And even though our keyboard player, Kurt, maybe he doesn't, contribute all that many original ideas, I think what he does arrangement wise, and when he says like, no, man, you cannot play a G there, it needs to be an A sharp. He does a lot, contributes a lot to us sounding the way we do.
Yeah, and there is a great deal of keyboard here. And that's just it. There is a fair amount of spots for each of you to take a spotlight, to have your time, but it doesn't detract from the song. And I think that is something that a lot of progressive bands have trouble with, because it's the cream of the crop here. You guys are excellent virtuoso type players. We get all of that, but we get songs too, and that's what I love about Seventh Wonder. Is there anything specific that you wanted to concentrate on with this record? Perhaps, more guitars, more instrumental breaks, things like that, more harmonies that maybe you didn't do in the other records?
Maybe you could say that. I guess coming off of Tiara, which was I guess the first studio album we released after Tommy joining Camelot, it turned out that was the most, for us at least, was the most extensive touring we've ever done. We played a lot live on Tiara, which was, great fun, great learning experience for us. We really, grew as a live act during those tours, I think. So I think maybe going into this album, going to your question, excuse me, is that we maybe have a better feel for what will translate or go across well in the live environment. So maybe that's something we thought about, well, yeah, but how is this going to work live? We need a song that's kind of like this and like that. We need to give Tommy a breather, blah, 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 blah. So those things kind of went into it. Other than that, it was just, coming off of writing a concept album, much as when we came off writing Mercy Falls, you just enjoy the freedom of letting every song be its own thing.
Yeah, Mercy Falls, one of my favorite records. I want to ask you a couple of things about that before we end. But I can imagine it's just it's so epic and consuming. At least for me as a listener, it just engulfs you. So I can imagine what it's like as a writer to come off of something.
Yeah, because the music then every song has a purpose to fulfill. Every song is a piece of the puzzle, and you also want these musical themes to kind of happen in the different songs. So there's a lot more intent or like intentional writing going into that, which is fun. It's great fun. It's good to now you need to convey this, it's a great challenge to write something like that. It's fun, but it's also a daunting task, especially for me being usually in the producer seat. Get everything to work out. It's very stressful. So once you're done with that, it's nice to let's just write a damn song.
Right, no doubt. When you listen to the first record, now I listen to the first record, I hear Seventh Wonder. Now of course, different singer, Andy singing that. Now you got Tommy. Really the core of the band there. When you listen to it, being close to it like you are, do you feel like it holds up? What's the biggest change in the band?
No, man, we always joke about that. It's like, it sounds like an old demo, and in many ways it kind of is. We didn't really know what we were doing, and it kind of, not to put ourselves, on par with Symphony X, but their first album was also kind of a little all over the place, different singer, suffering production wise. It's kind of a little bit of the same thing going on. But yeah, there are places here and there. I mean, if you listen to a song like the title track, What I Become, or parts of like him, and in the blink of an eye, we did that with Tommy. We redid it for the Japanese release of The Great Escape, actually.
Nice.
So yeah, there are parts there that are like, man, this is really cool. This is good. But in general, it's kind of like, what the reasoning going into that album was, okay, we just signed our first record deal. It's for 3 albums. Let's just empty. Yeah, exactly. Let's just empty. We have all the songs that we already have written, the old ones. Let's get them in the first album, and then the newest one, we'll save those and keep writing so we can get the second album out there as soon as possible. That was kind of the thinking going in there.
Okay.
Which means that, some of those songs were written over a 5-year period when we were, basically kids. Right. So there's a little bit of that shining through. I think not really knowing exactly what to do. A little bit of musical immaturity. There's no guitar on the album, more or less, at all. And we should have produced the vocals a bit better. So, I have fond memories of that time of my life. But it's not an album I would listen to all that much.
As a fan, we love it as fans. I mean, you talk to any Seventh Wonder fan, and they're gonna like it.
Cool.
It feels like you guys. But there's definitely progression. In where the band has arrived, especially now with the Testament. Wow, what a record. Your formal music training, I'd be really, really shocked if you were to say that you're self-taught. This is, you play. There's a music theory here. There's structure. There's complexity. What is your formal music training? And guys in the band, kind of the same. Do you fall in line with the same type of?
It's very different, actually. Joe, the guitar player, is probably and the keyboard player. They're the most schooled ones. I mean, Johan went to a music high school even. So graduating from high school, it was in a musical school. So he had a lot of that going on. Knew all the theory and had formal training, and also the keyboard player grew up playing regular classical piano his whole upbringing, and also played in an orchestra where he actually played percussion. But that taught him a bunch about orchestra. What's the English word? Not orchestration. Maybe it is. How you make big bands. How you set up arranging an orchestra. So he learned that. Stefan, he's a music teacher, so he has that type of schooling. Other than that, I think he's pretty self-taught. He's got a great sense of music. Tommy sang in like choirs at school and stuff like that, but didn't have any formal training beyond that. And me, I didn't have any training. I asked you one a lot when we started out. And he just, when I first joined the first band, Mankind, with you and another crazy guitar player called John, and they showed me stuff, and I was like, I better get to practicing. I got up every day before school, practice for an hour or two, and then every day after school for a couple more hours. And I just did that for a while, and
Oh my.
I really wanted to learn, and then I started playing with Marcel Jacob for a while, the bass player of Talisman, and Ingrid Malmsteen,
Yes.
and that was great. But that time I was already 23, maybe ish. So that was more like, I guess there were lessons, but it was rather, not formal music training. It was rather like, hey man, listen to this, and they would play me a song that they did with Coming Home off of Mysterious. Right. Listen to the kick drum. All right. How would you play along? Okay, because you gotta make sure you don't fight the drums. You gotta roll with the drum. Okay, so and here you play blah blah blah, and he would, show me little pointers and tips of how he addressed stuff, and show me stuff he wrote and played slower speed so I could actually learn the stuff. So that was a great learning experience too. But no, definitely no formal training for me. No, but he was patient with me when I started out. So he was my teacher.
Wow. I mean, to hear you, to see you play, it's impeccable. Just crazy. It's really shocking.
Appreciate it.
Very, very shocking to hear that. Every time I see you play, it's a 6-string.
Yes.
You have the 6-string right in the back there. I don't think I've ever seen you play anything else. Is there anything else on the Testament? Do we hear anything else? Do you play exclusively that?
No, it's that's what I do. I mean, I had an old 4-string when I started playing bass that I sold a few years back. I did fretless for one track on the Great Escape album, but that was also a fretless 6. So it's still this
Wow.
too, but it's still a 6. And I can, other bands starting out, what we did, their bass player would get a 6-string because at that time John Mayong did, and he wanted to be like Dream Theater and Your Heroes. When you're when you're that age, you're 18, 20, you want to do what your heroes do. And then they kind of, all of them, then they gradually moved back to a 5-string maybe because it was a low chunk, and then going back to a 4. But for me, I'm all over the place all the time, and I would be lost. I cannot play what I like to play with fewer strings. If I was going to do anything, I would get one more.
Yeah. Having a chance to see Dream Theater and John Mayong, it's the fretboard is, I don't know how he gets his hand around the thing. It's gigantic.
Right. That's why I hate it. When
Wow.
you see a guitar there, like, look at the difference in scale.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you want, write something in F being up here,
right,
and you're like this over there, and that's very painful.
It's
Damn guitar players, they got it easy, man.
I was gonna say they got it easy. Now you have your own specific style. I listen to you, I watch you, your phrasing, it feels fretless to me. The way you slide into notes and things like that, it's similar to what a fretless player plays, but no fretless on this record. Wow.
No, I've only done it on one song. It was the Long Way Home on Great Escape. My ears are not good enough for me to play fretless in a way that would pass Tommy's and the keyboard player's ears.
There you go.
So I like it, and I play with it at home for fun. I love the sound. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Steve Giorgio of Testament and Death, who is an avid bass player, fretless bass player. And it boggles my mind that they can do that. I really don't understand it. But so for me, it's more, I'll use it maybe for a slow song here and there. I probably will never learn to master it the way it ought to be mastered for me to use it in our regular songs. Okay. But it's a fun thing to challenge myself with and practice a little bit at home. So it's more like that. That's my relationship with fretless.
Okay, cool. Now you said, you're so at home with this progressive genre. Is there any other genre that you've wanted to explore? I've never heard you.
I mean, playing or listening to?
Playing.
Um, I would like to play a bunch of different music. I think it's great. It's such a great learning experience to play in a different genre. But just playing on a different album is, I played with a Norwegian band called With Them on their first album in 2012, and now I'm playing with a Florida band. No, oh, he lives in Florida now, I think. But Zero Hour is a US band,
Yeah.
and I'm playing with them, and that's always challenging to play someone else's stuff. So you always grow as a musician when you do things like that. So sometimes I've done like little guest appearances here and there, even without, getting paid or something like that, just because it's a great learning experience.
Yeah.
If I was to choose, I would love to play some more. I'm not sure there is a genre like that. Maybe it needs to be invented. I don't know, but I love to have more like acoustic guitars, kind of Pink Floydish type of style, but more with my bass playing on top of that. So a little bit more maybe mellow, low key type of thing, but a little bit of that stuff going on. That would be cool. That's something that I would like to pursue at some point.
Nice.
If I got the time.
Yeah, excellent. Love to hear it. Was there ever a time in the history of the band where the record company, pressured perhaps to keep it a little simpler and write a hit, keep it more commercially acceptable? Was that ever a thought for you guys or the record company?
At least not the record companies. Maybe we've been fortunate, or maybe we were just naive, but we've never. And I talked to bands and other bands that I know, people playing in those bands, and the record companies will be at them about those things, or at their throats about what the cover looks like or anything. We've never heard anything like that. We've more or less been left alone. But to tell you the truth, I'm not the kind of guy that I wouldn't be very impressed with that type of feedback from
Right.
from somebody else, and I would probably let them know.
Good for you.
So no, none of that stuff happening. We will do our thing, and if they don't like it, then we'll do our thing somewhere else. It's simple as that. It's pretty, because we have such. We don't think we're better than anybody else. We don't think what we're doing is unique or anything like that. But what we want to do is what we want to do, and that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
But in terms of a commercial, well, I know that we did a song called Inner Enemy when we did a live album in 2016. We did two studio songs to just add to the live album to give fans a little bit extra. And we challenged ourselves to write the shortest song we had ever written.
Nice.
There. So that we set out to do that. So that, commercial or not, I don't know, because the bridge is still in 5/4, and there's a bass break and a keyboard solo, guitar solo. But anyways, we said that this is going to be the shortest song we've ever written, and it took the longest time ever to write. It was long. So we tried that, I guess. If it was to be commercial or not, we knew it was going to be a single, kind of, a video song. Right. So we'd say, let's do this because it's fun. But it was, I'd rather say it was a challenge to us, because to be frank, our fan base, they like a 5-minute instrumental breakdown.
Yes, they do.
They're not asking for radio friendly songs. So when we did that, we did it for ourselves rather. Right. And we're not on a level where we're gonna all of a sudden go viral, and attract a lot of Billie Eilish fans all of a sudden. That's not how things work. So screw that. We did it because we wanted to. But no real pressure, man. Not from anybody else, as far as I can tell. Only from ourselves in that case.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Speaking of those breaks, the light on this new record, that breakdown is just wow. What a song. It's just epic.
I love it. It's a classic Tommy song. And we had a little bit of a fighting going on in the band, what song to do the proper video for, but I was adamant, this is the one we need, because to me, it's really quintessential Seventh Wonder. And, maybe we were talking about, well, maybe we want to show them something new, something very different. Maybe we do one of the heavier things that we're doing now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I figured you get that when you buy the album. Mm-hmm. This is us. I mean, Warriors, it's a little bit of a forward. I mean, I like the keyboard guitar solo thing, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It's a typical, this is how we're going to open the gig
Right.
type of song. Let's do something now so people know that we're still us, So that's why I really wanted that song to go out there.
It's a great choice. It's my favorite song on the record for sure. I can't.
Oh, cool.
I absolutely love that song. That break
That's
I can
nice,
listen
man.
to over and over and over. It's fantastic.
Cool, man.
I'd
Thank
be
you.
remiss not to ask you about Mercy Falls. This feels, it's Boxbeard Snow, Queen Strikes, Operation Mindcrime. It's kind of the magnum opus, it feels like, for Seventh Wonder. What inspired the writing of such an epic, huge concept?
Well, thank you for those kind words. I mean, they're big words. I get humble and almost.
It is.
But you never know anything like that. We were writing it. We were, 26, 27 years old, and we were like, let's just do something better than the last one. To be frank, you don't know that we're still to this day overwhelmed the way that people love it, and you kind of feel like embarrassed. You're like, man, if we knew it was going to have this impact, it would have spent more time fixing this and that, and blah blah blah. So, but I'm just thankful and so excited and happy that it made such an impact for so many people. So, I mean, I wanted to write a concept album. That was a big dream of mine, and I really pushed that pretty hard because you can argue whether or not that's a concept album, but Seventh Son of the Seventh Son with Iron Maiden is one of my absolute favorite. And then as we were doing our formative years, the Seventh Wonder, Dream Theater released The Scenes from a Memory in the same year. The Mythology Suite, all of them concept albums. It's like, man, I want to do that at some point, And then 10 years down the line, I figured it was time to do it. So, I sat down with Tommy and we had a bottle of wine and we just chatted and, wow, this duality of man, both of us are like, an old woman and this playful little child, and use that. And then we kind of just went from there, and then hashed out like a synopsis. Like, we need a song. Okay, so we got the story. Okay, so this song covers this part of the story and this that. So that means, okay, we need you right now something kind of more like maybe neoclassical type of thing, Yngwie-esque type of thing, and go do that, bring it back, and then him and me sit down and write the lyrics. So that's what we did. It was good fun, but it was, none of us had families, nothing like that. You had infinite energy when you're in your 20s. No, it's like,
yeah, it is epic. It is a perfect record. I wouldn't change a thing about it. It's sensational.
Thank you.
Something you've always wanted to do in your life. Is there something, professionally or personally, that you haven't done yet?
Well, in terms of the band, I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to write a long song, because I was getting into more of the epic prog rock stuff at that time. So we did that with The Great Escape. That was a great thing. I knew I wanted to do a live video, so we did that. I've kind of, checked the boxes on that right now.
That's great.
No big, right now. Well, then I just want to go out. To be honest, for me, I want to just play as many shows as possible. As long as people want to see us, I always want to play as many shows as possible. Yeah. Band-wise, professional-wise, that's what I want to do, because the last tour was just amazing. It was the best time of my life, and I think we were better than ever on stage. The songs worked better than ever. Tommy sang better than ever. Our setup worked. It was just such a great experience. It was the best time of my life. So I'm just hoping to be able to do that again, and meet people and go out and do what we love. So
that would be awesome. What's the deal with Frontiers look like? Are we gonna get Are you signed on for more records?
I think usually when you sign a record deal, at least in my experience, you sign what's called an option. That means that they guarantee to release one album, and then they have the option that they can exercise to release your next and the subsequent album. And the live was one thing on its own, and then we had a deal for 3 albums. So Tiara was number 1, Tessum was number 2. So they have the option to release an album number 3. Whether they choose to do so, I mean, that's at their discretion, and I don't know yet. But I mean, that was the same thing when the deal with Line Music ran out. I mean, we're just going to go forth and write it, and I feel pretty confident that if they don't want to release it, somebody else will. So we're definitely going to write new music as soon as we can.
Awesome. That's always great news. Always great news. Are you gonna any plans for a tour? I know you want to. Europe is not as much of a logistic nightmare for you, but North America, that's a little more complicated. Do you have any plans? Any projection towards North America?
There's nothing I would love more. That's I feel like an American at heart. I always have. That's where I want to be. If I get a chance, I'll be the first one on board that train, man. Let me tell you. And the times when we have played Prague Power, it's such an amazing setup. I would love to. Tommy lives in Canada these days.
Okay.
So maybe that's a little foot in the door for us to get there. But we're at a level. We got to find somebody then to be a promoter and set up a couple of shows. Right. That's a dream of mine. Maybe that's still on that, going back to your previous question, stuff I want to do. I would want to go, on a trip north to south, go down state by state and play the US. That'd be awesome. Every little joint and toilet we can find.
There you go.
That'd be cool. That's one of my dreams. We got some festivals coming up this fall that we're going to play. And it turns out it's pretty backed up after COVID, man. A lot of people are just dying to get out and play. So
yeah,
the promoters and the venues are pretty backed up in terms of available slots for you to play in. Yeah. So maybe US would be realistic after the turn of the New Year's. I mean, summer, the album is going to be released June 10th, and then so that's a bit late for the summer shows. We're going to play some festivals during the fall. Hopefully, get some other shows in there. Just shoehorn them in between the festivals, and then hopefully we can go on a longer run, maybe after New Year's. That's what I'm hoping for, anyway.
Man, that sounds great. Yeah, is there a specific place over here you'd like to play? Snap your fingers. Where are you?
In the U.S. Gee. Yeah. Well, we played Atlanta. I mean, I used to live in California. That'd be awesome. But I was just telling another guy that I was talking to, it'd be nice to just ride the I-95 down the East Coast. Play from New York State all the way down to Florida or something like that. But I mean, for me, there's no place I don't want to go. I want to freaking play Wyoming and Idaho.
Yep. Amen to that, man. That would be great. Yeah, as long as you should come to Chicago and the surrounding areas here in the Midwest.
Man, I even got family in Chicago. I could go look them up. Yeah, I do. Awesome. Apparently. Yeah, I don't know him that well. I met him once as a kid, but yeah.
That's cool.
My great aunt or something emigrated, 150 years ago. But yeah, man, I got family in Chicago. I want to go. I can watch a football game too, maybe while I'm at it.
Fantastic. Let's do it, man. Yeah, definitely. I hope you make it out here. I'd love to see you, man. Can't wait for everybody to hear this record. The Testament comes out June 10th, Frontiers Music. Andreas, thank you so much for your time, man. Take care of that voice, man.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I'm gonna get something to drink and then take it easy now for the rest of the night. So thank you, man. Thank you for a very nice chat, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
See ya.